performance comes from, and it has naturally increased my performance at work. But one of the problems that has surfaced is that I have also started to understand that what I have been doing for the last few years is not what I've genuinely been wanting to do. Um, and the problem that I have is I really have a burning um, desire to find out where I truly seek to go, because I don't want to waste any more time in the future. Um, would you have any advice
No,
on?
the questions that you ask are too open-ended. They're not going to work in this medium. The questions that you ask take um, take intense evaluation and a systematized approach and a genuine organic exploration to come to. You ask open-ended questions and you expect that an answer can be provided, and that isn't that isn't effective.
Hello.
Hello,
Who are you?
nobody.
Hello.
Hello.
Is the deep desire something, or the longing for the desire is when kind of I don't exist and only the desire exists and I can see that?
No, I think that you're taking sort of a spiritual approach to it, and that's just going to make you intellectualize it. The deep desire for longing is whatever that you genuinely long for. But if you try to turn it into a concept that I am not the desire, therefore I will separate myself from the desire, but only the desire, there's not me, you can do that for the next 1,000 years. It won't get you anywhere.
Thank you. The reason I ask that question is whenever I see my mother-in-law taking care of the kids, I see that she kind of becomes whatever we want her to be, and I feel like that seems to be a nice path and a good example. So I wanted to try to
Well, you
understand if
know,
that's what.
first of all, so I think this is an important thing to learn is that when you have a question, ask the question that you really want to ask. Don't dress it up and put a nice sorry on it. Okay? Ask the question that you want to ask. So that came second about your mother-in-law. So that should have been your question to begin with, because that's more relevant and practical and to the point. Um, so I will say that some people have a natural wisdom to them,
Yeah.
just naturally, and they're able to
Yes.
relate to others
Yes.
in a far more approachable fashion in a way
Uh-huh.
that makes the other person feel X and Y. So there
Uh-huh.
absolutely is a gradation,
Mm-hmm.
and there is somewhat of a various grade of wisdom that different people tend to have.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has a talent, and some people have the talent for dealing with other people, as you have
Mm-hmm.
just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the problem occurs that when you try to be like that, now that may
Mm-hmm.
inspire you, and if it inspires you to the point where you devote yourself to becoming like that, then you
Mm-hmm.
will find yourself doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But generally speaking, what tends to happen is that
Mm-hmm.
unless that inspiration is
Mm-hmm.
very long-lived, it will not change you. And quite frankly, in almost every circumstance, all
Mm-hmm.
such inspirations tend to be very short-lived because a human being will always return to his default way of being.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Hi, Kapil. Thanks
Hello?
for doing this. My question is, when you're on the path to truth, is it natural to feel like you are fooling the people who are not on the path to truth?
What do you really want to ask?
I feel like I'm understanding truths more clearly than some people who are not. So I feel like they do not understand the actual truth of what they are involved in.
Why would they understand?
Yeah, they don't. So is it
So
natural
what? So what? So what's the point? I mean, why would you expect anyone to understand the truth?
yeah, I shouldn't, right?
Well, you can if you want.
Hi,
Hello.
I wanted to ask if the physical experience is more real than what we think. I feel like my physical body actually tells my mind what to do, not the other way around. So that's my question.
No.
Hi, you mentioned that it's hard for us to change. So, what is the best way to make long lasting, to get rid of the patterns that we have and make long lasting change permanently?
It's futility. Why do you want to change?
Well, I just see patterns that are not healthy. I think we all
Okay,
have
so
them.
what happens if you get healthy?
I mean, I'm sure it would make my life better,
What does better mean?
that I'm more like conscious and not,
Okay,
reacting.
so what if you're more conscious? Then what happens?
Well, I won't be reacting so much to
Okay,
things,
fine, you're
and
not reacting so much. Okay, so what then?
so I'm not as bothered, I guess,
Okay,
by.
so you're less bothered. Then what?
I don't know. I think it would,
I don't know is the best thing that you've said so far. Okay, and this is precisely what happens in this trap that you are involved in, and all of your brethren in society are involved in. The improvement chase, the betterment, the change. Burn your books. Self-development is garbage. Self-improvement has no meaning. Spirituality is a lie. Religion is a farce. And you will not understand any of that, nor should you. But the exchange that we have just had either has given you an inkling towards something or it has not.
Hello.
Hello?
I have a question. Do you think God is everything that's around us?
It's a fair question. Uh, I think that at the end of the day, it's what your experiences have taught you. It doesn't matter if I say yes or no. At the end of the day, you'll have to examine things for yourself to see if all things happen because of you or all things happen because of something else. And if you are in charge, what has happened in your life and where has that placed you? Um, I think examining it from yourself as opposed to looking at it from outside yourself would be a far more effective approach.
So you're saying that we're connected to everything?
No, you're saying that. Now you've crossed over the line into spirituality.
Hello. Hi, Kapil.
Hello.
What
Yes.
do you do? My question is that at times, like when I realize that I do not understand a lot of things according to my craft and even otherwise, uh, it becomes a sense of urgency sort of overlaps uh, my life, which somehow like bothers people around me, specifically people who care deeply about my well-being, or like they assume that they care about my well-being. uh, how have you reconciled when you were in let's say similar situations, if you have been in similar situations, or maybe like what is your opinion about my situation?
Well, what is the problem for you?
My problem is that the people who assume that they care about me, they start restricting my sense of urgency in what I go forward doing when I realize that I do not know some about something very deeply. And like that
Are
has,
these people your parents?
yes, parents, good friends who you know
So
uh,
I have found that generally when you're talking to your parents, I have found generally that when there's a disagreement and when there's a problem, that you think one way and they think another way, that one of the most effective approaches in the beginning is to deal with things honestly and humbly and in a way which is soft and non-confrontational. And human beings generally respond to people who come and approach them in a gentle, soft, understanding manner. That's what I'll say to you.
okay. Uh,
Hello?
Good evening, Dr. Gupta. Um, if a child experiences pain, trauma, suffering at a young age, does that alter their ability to find truth later in life?
No. In fact, it probably enhances it because when one experiences extreme emotional pain, oftentimes it can have the effect of leading a person inward.
Got it. Thank you.
Hello, Dr.
Hello?
Gupta. My my question is, I'm usually not tensed or don't see a problem. I take it everything very light. At the same time, I'm not a lazy person. I do things. I'm responsible. I have a family. I have a child. But I just don't get tensed, or I'm emotionally. I feel like I don't go up and down. Is it? And again, I don't read anything spirituality or religion or self-help book or nothing. My question is, I some time to time I question myself: am I just acting like or not afraid of facing any emotions, or is it a good thing or bad thing, or I'm just
Who
being
cares? Well, why do you need to apply a label of good or bad to it?
sorry?
Why must you apply a label of good or bad to it?
I don't know. I just since looking at everything, it looks like feeling emotions, good or bad, or like being happy or being sad, is part of life. That's what makes life interesting or lively. I feel like not
You're under false
feeling that.
notions. You're under false notions. You're chasing these concepts, interesting, lively. What the hell does that mean? These things have no meaning. I mean, for all intents, you could be in a place where most people would long to be. So why do you think about it? And why do you examine why is that and why is that? If you don't have a problem, why are you trying to create one?
I'm not trying to create.
Yes, you are.
Hey, I kind of feel sometimes violence could be justified. Sometimes I feel like a solution to some of the problems that I have could be violence, but at another level, I feel that that it could never be justified, and that's just you know giving into your,
I mean, you're talking in
baser
concepts.
instincts.
You're talking in concepts. You cannot look at something as a concept. Everything is situational.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
आप
Do
लोग
you have
सुन
a
पा रहे
question?
हैं? Yes.
Hello. Hey, Kapil.
Yes. Hello?
What music do you like listening to?
Have you been coming to these things for a long time?
I like listening.
Okay. Why would you ask me that question?
I just wanted to know you a bit better.
Hi.
Hello?
So I have a question. To what extent do you think reading self-help books help people? You know, for people who's trying to find some answers.
Reading self-help books will not find you anything. It is a waste of time. Hello?
Hello.
I cannot hear you.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, Dr. Gupta. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for your time.
Sure.
My question is around what is the truth around sleep, or lack thereof. I don't sleep as deeply as I used to, and not that I'm chasing that, that I once would sleep very well. I just wanna, I'm trying to understand that there's no ostensible reason. I'm just trying to understand why, or ask myself the right question. Is that, why would the mind sort of sabotage, you know because lack of sleep, it prevents a
You
human from
don't
achieving.
sleep because you have a noisy mind. That's why.
Hey,
Hello?
hello. I really like this room, first of all. And my question is quite personal. I used to be a motivated person before COVID and this lockdown. And I used to be able to handle different projects at the same time and whatnot. And however, this past year got really lazy and I can't find any motivation
And are you going to
anymore.
ask me how to get motivated and how to
I don't know,
how
man.
to
I just
be
wanna.
more motivated? Are you? Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not here to discuss anything with you. If you have a specific question, you can ask it. But if the question is a how-to, it's of no use because it won't get you anywhere. Because prescriptions don't go anywhere. Methods, how-tos, prescriptions, hacks, they're not effective ways to get anything.
Hello.
Yes.
Why do people use astrology?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them. There may be some truths to astrology. I'm I don't I cannot speak authoritatively about it, but it's a fair question because it's been done for a long time, and there might be some validity to it.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Hey Kapil, I don't have a question per se, but I just wanted to tell you that I am sorry because I actually subscribed to some of your privacy courses and I pledged a certain amount of dollars, but I failed to keep up to my pledge and I failed to keep up to my promise. I just wanted to tell you personally that I'm sorry for that. The reason for that was. Maybe I'm not
It's no problem. It's no problem.
yeah.
Don't worry about
Hello.
it. Hello.
Could you speak more about that noisy mind and maybe
Well, there really isn't much to speak about. I mean, it's as it is. Your mind is noisy. What's there more to say? And if by speaking more you mean how to get rid of it, it's not going to work.
sure. All right, thank you.
Hi. Talk
Hello.
about talent.
Is that some kind of demand?
No, I think that's more posed as a question. Um,
What
can you
about it?
talk
What's your
about
question?
talent? In your
It's a big
wisdom,
open
what is
question.
right? In
It's
your
a big open
wisdom,
question. So I mean, a talent. Everyone has a different talent. What's your question about it?
what is talent?
You know what talent is.
Yeah, I think the question is more directed to your understanding of your understanding, emphasis on your understanding of talent.
Yeah, I think that you're going to have to come up with a question that's more effective and more incisive and more specific.
Hello.
Hello?
If happiness is the enemy, then what emotion is the friend?
Well, why do you ask if happiness is the enemy? You're taking that on belief. Why do you begin with if? You begin with if because you think that I'm asking you to accept that. You're beginning with if is because you haven't realized that for yourself. Therefore, if you begin with if X, that means you haven't realized X. And if you haven't realized X, then there's no point in asking why.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi, Kapil. Thank you for doing this. I was wondering if one can be searching for certain truths and possibly not in other areas, or is there one whole truth, or do you
Sure.
believe
No,
many different
absolutely.
truths?
Yes, you can do that.
Hi, Dr. Gupta. Thanks for having me.
Hello? Yes.
What is not a prescription?
That's a great question. And the true answer at this point in your life is that there's not a single thing that you know that is not a prescription.
Thank you.
That's a place to begin.
Hi, Kapil. I just wanted to thank you for everything. My question is regarding prescriptions. I've really tried to understand um, no prescriptions. Let's say in the example of I hurt my shoulder and I want to see somebody to heal my shoulder. What can I do or seek that's not a prescription that would
Well,
be
I mean, if it's a
helpful for?
mechanical thing, and you bruised your shoulder, and then somebody says, you go to a therapist and he says, well, put ice on the shoulder, and the ice lessens the bruising. That is a prescription, and it did work. Therefore, that is very small, and that is very limited, and that is very mechanical. If, however, you go and say, how do I become great? You have no choice. You have no chance. If you go to someone and say, how do I become a world class? You have no chance. If you go to someone and say, how do I become enlightened? You have no chance. If you want to cut your hair, there are barbers. If you want to fix a bruise, there are therapists for that. If you want to have surgery, there are prescriptions for that. So things that are small and mechanical, you can do prescriptions for. But anything, which actually are the most things in a human being's life, are more vague and much more large and wide encompassing. And those are the things that human beings truly struggle with. And for those things that are not mechanical, there are no prescriptions.
Thank you.
Hey,
Hello?
Doctor.
Yes.
So I just want to understand. I just want to learn about your purpose for doing this Q&A. Do you have any
I
motive
think
or?
I've answered that about 500 times. I have no idea why I do it.
Sorry, I think
Yeah,
I missed it.
no problem.
Does truth arrive through experience?
No.
Thank you.
Hi, Doctor.
Hello.
I've heard you talk in the past about science and various sciences, and I'm curious with regards to genetics and how certain genetics has been associated to fate of illness.
Well, I haven't said that.
Okay, thank you.
But what's your question?
Well, my question would be, is there truth in genetics of science, the science of genetics?
What's your real question?
My question is along the lines of, if something is prescribed to you to mitigate health concerns uh, based off of science, is that the end all be all?
Well, is the end all be all fixing that issue for your whole life?
Assuming that I would like to live a longer life.
Okay, fine. You live a longer life. You live long and a miserable life, right? Are you enlightened? Have you found peace? Have you found unending wisdom? Have you found the end of conflict? Have you found realization? Have you found inner calm? Have you found the ability to quiet the mind whenever you wish? But you're an intellectual. You want to extend life. You want to extend your misery. It's idiotic. It has no meaning. Human beings are idiotic. They wish only for quantity, not quality. They want to extend things to extend their own ego. If a human being lives for 1 minute, and for that 1 minute he is realized, that life is more valuable and more transformational to all human beings on earth than the idiot who extends his life for 5,000 years. It is sheer stupidity. Hello.
Hello. Good morning, Master. I have been following you for quite some time, and it feels sort of unreal that I'm here speaking with you. So I just wanted to extend my regards. And
Sure.
I do have a question for you, but this is a little serious for this room, and don't know if I should be asking this in such a wide audience, but I'll let you allow me to speak further or not. I wanted to ask you a question on the nature of death. When we are young, most of us go through an existential crisis as to why I'm here, and we try to answer this question for ourselves. And one might come to the conclusion that there is nothing, right? This world has nothing to offer you. And when you come to that conclusion, how do you act once you've seen for yourself that this world has nothing to offer you?
If
And
you truly have seen it,
yes,
you will not need to act. You only act when you haven't seen it.
okay. Can I follow up that with another question?
Okay?
If one sees this very clearly and they decide not to act in a way, or they don't do anything, but within themselves it stems that they want to exit from all societal bonds and be by themselves and not form anything that would make them stay here, would that be something that they would be able to hold up to the rest of their lives?
So there's no they. There's only one person. And there's no would they be able to. It depends upon what one sees, what one is deeply inspired by, where one wishes to go. It isn't a question of ability. It is a question of what one truly longs for.
Hello.
Yes.
So I want to ask a question because when I read the religious scriptures, it says everything happens in the according to what's God's will. If everything happens to God's will, then why we try to
Well, first of all,
find?
did I say that?
I said when I read.
No, did I say that? You read it in a scripture, right?
Yep.
So if you read it in a scripture, why don't you ask the person who wrote the scripture?
I read myself.
Why do you pose the question to me when I'm not the
I'm
one who
asking.
wrote it?
So you don't want to answer that?
I guess you didn't hear a word I said, did you?
I heard.
Hi, Kapil. Um, I'm going to attempt to ask this question, and I know I'm asking for prescription, but I don't necessarily, because I think part of me is so conditioned by prescriptions, but I guess I would ask for insight instead because I don't know how to formulate the question. Um, I guess, so essentially, my level of understanding is I pursue pleasure itself as temporary forms of satisfaction, when in truth I truly desire freedom rather than desiring moments of pleasure. So and then I guess um, the prescription I would ask is, do I just need to um, viscerally 100% understand that pleasure isn't what I truly seek?
Yes,
It's solely.
unless an understanding becomes visceral, then it's a chase. But the answer is yes, it is about visceral understanding.
Hi.
Hello?
Um, so, the search for truth, you end up making, let's say there's a scientist and he's exploring something and he's, running experiments and whatnot. And he will eventually turn into this he'll intellectualize things. He'll make terms, he'll make definitions. And that is still the truth. So what differentiates that intellectualization
So
from a
you have
genuine
said,
search?
wait. You have said, and that is the truth, and then you launched into your question.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you assume that's the truth. So you can't make up your own conclusions and then ask questions about your conclusions.
That's the universal truth.
Okay, maybe to you it is. That's a typical scientist. Hello?
Uh, Good evening, Dr. Kapil. Thank you so much
Oh,
for taking the question.
sure, sure.
I heard your talk with Naval, and I kept hearing it every week or twice every week, and until it got absorbed in me. Not like taking a prescription, but just it resonated with me in a way uh, only the teaching of Self did about 6 years ago back in college. Anyway, ever since I was like 6 or 5. Whenever I saw people suffer, it really, really hurt me, and I always had a longing to find the end of suffering for others, even though it may increase suffering in me when I try to help them. But I found the world to be kind of harsh, and it's if-
Do you have a
the more.
question?
Yes, my question is, how do I get over I guess it's not how do I, but if Buddha had found the end of suffering and he went through so much, why is the world still suffering, despite great people like him being there? And
Exactly. So why do you think? What does that
sorry,
tell you? What does that tell you? What have you learned from that?
that that you can't change anyone else except for yourself. I think that's one.
Well. Even change is not the correct word. But Buddha found enlightenment, and then Buddha apparently wrote the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, and those books are on every shelf in the whole world.
Right.
And yet, as you say, no one's enlightened. So what does that tell you?
I think you have to forge your own path.
Yeah, that's correct.
Hey, Kapil.
Hello?
So, regardless of any sort of trauma at a young age, do you think children in general see the truth better than adults because they haven't been conditioned
Yes.
as much?
Yes. The younger they are, the more so. Yes.
So, if that's the case, I had to use the word "how" here. How would you parent a child such that the truths that they
So
see
think
stay
about that for a
intact?
second. If the child knows more, and if the child is more free and closer to the truth than the parent, then why are you asking, how
Hmm.
do I parent a child? Who should be parenting who?
Exactly. That's the
So, right. So think about that.
question
Think
here.
about that. Yeah.
Much a very good evening.
Yes.
Uh, no, I have I have found out why I am not arriving. I am able to see that why I am not arriving, and what causes me to be where I am right now. And what is this process? No, I am not able to arrive, Master. This flailing is going on and on and on and on. I'm not able to arrive there, even after seeing. No, what is that which is causing me not to arrive there?
You're too interested in the arriving, and you're not interested in examining the truth of where you are.
Hello, Dr. Gupta.
Hello?
Um, I find that those in my life that I love, or at least claim to love, bring a lot of joy to my life. But I'm also very aware that they bring a great deal of pain, either in terms of the thought of losing them, or just trying to be a source of joy for them. Um, what does the word love mean to you? And is there anything transcendent, for lack of a better word,
Yeah, I
about it?
think love is a very it's a black box of a word. I'm not sure a being knows what the word love means. I think it's sort of a created word. But what humans do know what means is attachment. So in the vast majority, if not every case, what a human being calls love is actually attachment.
Okay, fine, I'll go first. So I guess my question is as much directed toward Kapil as to everyone in the audience, really. So I guess my question is, like, what is everybody doing in this
Well, I'm
room?
not interested in. This is not an
If
open discussion.
self-improvement is a farce,
This is
then
not an
like
open.
what do you
Open.
expect
Wait,
to get
wait, wait,
out
wait.
of
Stop.
this?
Stop talking.
This is pure, like,
Hello.
unadulterated sophistry.
Wow. I don't know where you people come from, honestly.
I think people listening to this are exposing themselves.
Hello.
Hi, am I allowed to ask a question?
Yes.
So don't mind me, but I'm a super beginner in meditation. I've tried different techniques. I just wanted a very
I don't
quick.
believe in meditation. You're in the wrong room if you're asking about meditation.
I'm sorry. Bye.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
I'd like to hear your thoughts about incarnation. When does the energy actually enter the mother?
I cannot speak authoritatively about that.
Hi, doctor. Thank you for taking my question.
Yes.
How do you deal with physical discomfort?
There's no deal with anything.
So that would you then allow it, confront it, make peace with it,
None of it.
or
There's no
none of
dealing
it?
with anything. If it's physical discomfort, then it's an ailment. You can get rid of it. There are ways to get rid of it.
So go about the path of getting rid of it.
Well, if you're bleeding, why would you not stop the bleeding? I don't understand that question.
Hello, Kapil.
Hello?
Taking my question. I have a maybe a little bit of complex, but I think you'll see where I'm coming from. I'm very aware of our ways of sort of creating an image throughout our lives. Where I'm having a little bit of maybe trouble is, for example, I know that I have seen myself throughout my life, the image making process, and I have sort of made it, even though I knew it was an image making, and it came to a point when I couldn't take it anymore, and naturally it's sort of I understood it, and truth is the only way I find towards what I'm going. However, where I'm having a little bit of trouble is, well, for example, if I want to become something, if you want to become something, like whether it's an actress or especially in entertainment industry, I find that you are sort of kind of making an image, kind of like you may have no choice. So where is it? How can someone
Doing something for yourself, inside of yourself, that you know is real, versus putting on a mask that you know is unreal, and you're doing it for your profession because it's a role that you're playing, are two different things.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi, I just want to ask about the will. Um, is the drive to be of value or the will to be of value? Did it come from the brainwashing of society or is it something natural?
Everything that you have in your mind is a brainwashing of society. But you will have to sift through it all to see what things in your heart truly drive you viscerally.
Hello.
Hello?
Um, hey, in your pieces where you talk about devotion, you mentioned that it's as one devotes themselves to, say, their craft, like they typically lose themselves in it. Is that, does that affect how, is that the effect of basically an escape from like the mundane aspects and fires of one's life, or do you mean something else by that?
What don't you understand about devoting oneself to one's craft?
Well, I'm just, I don't understand the effect of that. Why is that more, say, I don't know, it just seems like you put emphasis on it, not that anybody should, but I just would like to know like what sort of
Well, what
effects
would
that
you
could
rather
have for
do
someone.
if you were not devoted? What would you rather do?
Um, I'm not really sure actually.
Okay.
Hi, Kapil.
Hello.
Um, are we born enlightened? So, in other words, is my 2-year-old daughter enlightened?
I
And
don't
he
know
would,
if I don't know if you would call it enlightenment, but I will tell you
yeah.
that the small child is much closer to truth and freedom than the adult is.
Does it mean they see things in their truest way than an adult?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. How do you find your true purpose? What would you prescribe?
Your true what?
Purpose in life.
Oh, I don't prescribe anything. I don't believe in prescriptions. There's no how-tos, methods, techniques. They don't work.
Oh, hello, doctor. Thank you for
Hello.
bringing me up.
Hmm.
I was just wondering if if you were not required to go and or do anything, what in particular where might you go, or what might you do?
I'm not required to do anything.
Yes, exactly. So what in that? Okay, fair enough. So, well, okay, that's an interesting answer. I'm not required to do anything or to go anywhere, and I'm sitting in a place called Grand Junction. That's the name of the city that I'm at, and I'm not exactly sure where I'll go next or what I'll do next. I wonder.
So have you achieved what you wanted to achieve in life?
Hmm, I believe I have.
Okay.
Well, I'm part of the way there. I'm on the road there, yes, but no.
Are you
So
are you
the
chasing
legit
are you
answer
chasing
is
wealth?
no. The legitimate answer is no. I have not achieved what I want to, but I'm on the way there. Am I chasing wealth? No. What I'm chasing is um, there's other things that are not wealth that I'm sort of, I guess, chasing. But there's no immediate need to do anything. It's the only thing that can get me there is the passage of time. So
Okay.
in the
So at the
meantime, I'm not sure what to
so
do.
at the end of the day, there is nothing meaningful to do in this life.
Okay.
The only valuable thing, which actually, and the only reason it's valuable, not because it's moral, the only reason it's valuable is because it is the only thing which has the ability to take someone away from all his miseries and his pains and the questions that you're asking now. And that is a life devotion to the truth.
A life.
Hello.
Hello.
So my question is that I have realized that uh, having desires causes pain, but having no desire also causes pain. So is there a way to be pain free?
Having no desires does not cause pain.
Um, what is the best way to suppress the feelings of fear or extreme excitement when it onsets?
There is no best way to do anything, and suppression is the road to extending one's problems.
What is the best thing, approach, or strategy for shiny object syndrome?
I'm not sure the question is useful, but I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Go ahead. Hello.
Now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. What is the best strategy to overcome like lack of focus and shiny object syndrome?
If you want to be in this room, I recommend that you just listen because you're not ready to ask questions yet. There's no best strategy for anything.
Hi. What do you mean by devotion to truth?
What don't you understand about that?
The truth is here, so is there a need for devotion or
Well, if you've already found the truth, then there will be no need for anything.
Hi, Kapil.
Hello.
Thanks for doing this. My question is, you obviously work with athletes and investors and successful businessmen. My question is there a truth in a man who kind of reach their or perfect their craft and he reach their potential in what they do?
What do you mean? Is there a truth that they reached? What are
So
you asking?
for everybody who is successful and reach the highest excellence in their craft, does that mean that they kind of in their journey have kind of faced a truth in that?
Well, I answered this question earlier. Somebody else asked a similar question. Um, when someone is considered excellent, they're considered excellent in relation to others in their field. So it's a relative excellence. And therefore, yes, the people who have reached, firstly, the people who have reached the top of their field generally, yes, have found some truth that works for them. But if one compares them not to their peers, but compares them to the ultimate possibility for them, um, know that they have not found truth. It may not matter to them, obviously, but there is the ultimate truth, and then there are little tidbits that people have picked up along the way that allowed them to excel in their field. And sometimes the excelling in one's field is largely simply the result of simply having a stronger desire than anybody else to excel.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
May I know what is this room about? What kind of question we can ask?
If you want to know, then you should sit back and listen, and that might help to answer your question.
Okay.
Hi, what
Hello?
causes one to lose their truth?
You've never had truth to lose it. Correct.
Hi, apologies. Sorry for taking a while to come up, but would you look at missed opportunities as protection?
Okay, that's just such a vague question. If you want to ask a question, ask it directly. What is a specific situation? Don't clean it up and make it into some synopsis. Ask it in a raw fashion. What's the question? Do you have a question or not?
No, I think it's too, I don't want to prolong it too long.
Hi. How do you clear the head and how do you focus?
You're new here. If I think that you're not ready to ask a question here because you haven't understood the basics of no prescriptions.
Hello.
Well,
Can we discuss conflict liberation? Can conflict,
you come to these things. What question do you specifically have?
can I use conflict that's internal to work with conflict liberation? Like, can I use the conflict inside?
Be non-intellectual. Ask what you want to ask. Go ahead.
Okay. Can you help me work with what feels like a rotten heart that's getting in the way of everything?
What do you mean by rotten heart?
Like, I don't have the devotion because there's not a strong enough desire to cultivate love or compassion. I'm not stable or mature enough in the desire to do good
Okay, so well, the very
from the heart.
recognition of those things is actually far more effective than trying to change them. You must recognize, realize, and if you try to change and better yourself, you will not get anywhere. That's the realization that must be had. That must somehow sink in. Not that it should, but if you truly seek to get somewhere, that must somehow happen.
Hello, Dr. Gupta. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I've always been a very driven, motivated person with respect to my career. sometimes if I look at what's not causing me, what's blocking me from getting to where I want to be, I feel like I have this desire to be somewhat liked by people, and I feel like in some cases I have this intense desire to, uh, I guess, protect my reputation. I'm wondering, are there more questions I can ask to understand this better and remove this? I feel like I could be far more effective if I did not care.
Well, of course, absolutely. But you're not going to make yourself not care. It is everyone's basic problem is that they value the world, and as long as it is the understanding that as long as one values the world and its people, they will always be trapped. They will always be a prisoner to the world. That's the understanding.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much, Kapil. And it's been amazing hearing your podcast. But I just need to know if you have, and this is my current state of mind, any views on reincarnation or energy transferring or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know enough about it to be able to speak with any kind of authority about it.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. More power to you.
Sure. Thank you.
Hi, Kapil.
Hello.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, how do we examine where we are? I mean, I have tried it multiple times in terms of self-examination, in terms of where I am, to just understand my sufferings. But
You're examining intellectually from a self-help perspective, and it's not going to
yes,
work.
I'm
So,
always lost
so
in the concepts.
yes, that's right. So it's the realization that that's where you're lost. That's what, that's where you are. You don't try to change that.
Hi, thank you.
Yes.
What rejection can teach us?
You're looking at it intellectually and spiritually. It's not going to work.
Both.
It's not going to work.
Back up here again. Um, I am trying not to approach this as an intellectual, as you correctly identified me as. My question for you is, or if you are nobody and I am nobody, and if you cannot give me prescriptions and I should not seek prescriptions, then is the highest form of conversation between you and me no conversation at all?
That won't get you anywhere either because you're an intellectual. Therefore, you have put if before everything.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, all that you know is theories. If this and if that and if this and if that this and if this that then this, then is it this?
Mm-hmm.
Your whole life is in a book.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing real about you. If I pinched you,
Mm-hmm.
you might say ouch, and that would be the most non-intellectual thing that you ever said.
Hi, Kapil. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. How do I beat procrastination?
How long have you been here to this room?
I've just joined.
Okay. There's no how.
Hi, doctor.
Hello?
If you can't figure something out without a prescription, does that mean you're seeking the wrong thing, or that maybe you should just
Well, you
stop?
said if you can't figure something out without a prescription, you were implying that you can figure it out with a prescription. And that's your first problem.
Hi.
Hello?
Namaste. I I had a I mean every time when I try to avoid prescription, I face my own
Why do you
two
try to avoid prescriptions? That's the recipe for failure.
ah then that's a mistake because I was thinking if prescription is about laziness or fear that I don't know how to experiment, so I might need an answer from outside.
Yeah,
So
the prescriptions is not about following any rule about no prescriptions. I don't recommend that people adhere to no prescriptions. I don't recommend that. It is really about seeing the emptiness and the ineffectiveness of prescriptions for yourself. And if you
ah
see the ineffectiveness of it, then you will see why it has no relevance to your life. But if you just take it and believe it, you will try to turn it into an ideal and try to follow it. And those things simply lead you down the road that you began.
yes. So it's kind of then like an experimentation with that unknown, what happens with or without prescription, but one has to see through it. There is no shortcut.
Well, you've had plenty of life experience to see through it. Just turn your eyes around, look backwards, and you'll see very clearly that they've done nothing for you.
Hmm.
Hello again. I have a question. Sometimes I have a desire, so make some plan to reach my desire as a goal, and in between of the way I'm trying to reach my goal, I feel something wants to stop me. Maybe something in my mind. I wanna know if all the people are in the same cycle like me? If yes, why it's happened to everybody? If not, why I'm like this?
The reason that you don't get what you want is because you don't want it bad enough.
Hello.
Hello?
What to you is the difference between knowledge and belief?
They're both useless.
Thank you.
Hi, I have a question. Oftentimes, the greatest source of my life's pleasure happens to be the greatest source of my anguish as well. I would like to get your thoughts on this.
I don't have any thoughts. Do you have a question?
I want to know if this is common among everyone.
Who cares? What if it's common? So what? What did that do for you?
I'm just wondering why the greatest things in my life often happen to be also be painful. I mean, just wondering about it.
Because pleasure is pain.
Hi, thanks for having me up.
Yes.
I'm a proprietary trader. I trade stocks, futures, etc. And your work has really given me a great framework for approaching what I now see as a craft. And this last month, I was approaching a real milestone number in one of my accounts that I was managing. And I could feel how much that number meant to me. And I could feel as I got closer to it, uh, through a lot of the learnings of your work and the vocabulary of your work and new perspectives it's given me, I could feel myself getting more emotional about that number, how it represented something to me, how I was reaching for it and started to pull myself off balance in my trade that manifests itself as over trading or over managing positions. And so that lasted about a week, and I could feel it happening in real time. I could observe it in real time, and I tried to just work through it. There was a podcast I heard where you coached someone in swimming. He said he was really tired. He didn't know how he could compete that day, being tired and perform. You told him, just swim tired. And so I tried to just sort of trade through this period being aware of all these attachments I was having and what this goal meant to me. It's been about a week since that happened. It's cooled down. I didn't wind up reaching that goal. It doesn't mean I won't. But my question is the fact that I was able to recognize these things happening in real time and I did not look for a how to or something I had to do to fix them. does that mean I was making progress, or I am making progress toward a
Beware of
deeper
progress.
understanding?
Beware of progress.
Okay.
The more you count your progress, the more you'll regress. Good night.